So today I'm going to talk about how to continuously improve as a footballer and how to never get stagnant, how to never, how to avoid hitting plateaus and how to just always just keep constantly improving as a young player. Now, for this, I'm gonna use an example of myself. I remember when I first started, really dedicating and really training by myself. I would just go to the AstroTurf. I'd go on YouTube and I just look at a few football drills. I didn't really have any sort of structure. I'd just be like, alright, cool. Let me just look on YouTube. A few dribbling drills here, a few passing drills here, and a few shooting drills here. And obviously, when you first start something, anything is progress, you understand? Literally, you can go to the AstroTurf, and as long as you're working hard, you're breaking a sweat, you're working on, the fundamentals of your game, obviously you're going to improve. But after a while, you're not really going to benefit from that. And I think a lot of young players get caught in this trap where they think that, just because they're actually going out to go train, they think they're actually improving. But a lot of the time, it's just, wasted hours. They're not really, really improving their game. And the reason for this is that they're not doing deliberate practice. Now, what I mean by deliberate practice is that, like I said before, like me, for example, I would go to the AstroTurf and I just pick 3 drills I wanted to do that day. It didn't really matter what I was doing. Maybe I'll do a passing one, a dribbling one, and a shooting one. Or I'll do 2 passing ones and then a shooting drill at the end. But I'll just sort of pick drills and then I just try to complete them to the best of my ability. And like I said, at the start, it worked because, like I said, before then, I hadn't really been training at all by myself. I'd just been doing, you go to your team training twice a week and then you play matches. But obviously when I turned like 14, 15, that's when I started, actually putting in work and actually training by myself. And like I said, at the start, you can just sort of do anything. Anything at the start is progress, but you get to a certain point where you sort of plateau as a player. And the reason I think that maybe for like 6 months to a year that I didn't really improve as a player is that when I was going to actually go train, I didn't have intention in my training. I didn't actually self-analyze and say, alright, cool, what areas of my game are lacking? What do I actually need to work on? What am I actually bad at? You understand? And I feel like a lot of young players do this where, this is where you see a lot of players, they'll be at the AstroTurf every single day. You see them on their Snapchat story saying, yeah, I'm putting in the work, I'm grinding, I'm at the AstroTurf every single day. But then you pull up to the AstroTurf and then they're not really working hard, They're just taking shots. They're just taking shots at the 11-a-side goal, or they'll do a few drills here and there, but for most of the time they're just doing, simple passing. They're just doing 2-touch with their friends. Like, it's not really, work. And like I said, at the start, you can get away with doing those sort of things because anything is progress at the start. But at a certain point, you have to sort of incorporate deliberate practice. Now, one weakness when I started actually implementing deliberate practice, one weakness in my game that I realized is that I didn't check my shoulders enough. Like, especially the fact that I was playing centre mid, I didn't check my shoulders enough at all. So it led to me, in certain areas of the pitch, I'd get caught on the ball. I didn't know when to take 1 touch or when to take 2, or knowing when to turn. You understand? Like, even if I didn't lose the ball, there'll be certain scenarios where I'd pick up the ball from a defender, and instead of actually turning and playing a positive pass, I'd get the ball and I'd just bounce it straight back, even though I had time to turn, take 1 or 2 dribbles and then actually assess my options. I'd always wait for people to shout to me, you've got time, you can turn. But to be honest, obviously your teammates should be communicating with you. They should be talking to you, telling you when to turn, when you've got a man on. But to be honest, you can't really rely on that. You understand? You have to be depending on. You have to be independent. You have to depend on yourself. It's on you to know. It's on you to know. Okay, do I have opponents around me, or do I have time and space? Because at the end of the day, if you get caught on the ball, you can't really blame your teammates. You can't get caught on the ball in the middle of the park and say to your teammates, why didn't you tell me man on? They're gonna look at you and they're gonna be like, bro, that's your fault. Like, check your shoulders, you know what I'm saying? Check your mirrors. You should know what you need to do, because basically that's it. It's on you to check your shoulders, because obviously you're not gonna tell what's it called? If your centre back gets beat 1v1, and then he comes to you as a winger, for example, and he says, so why didn't you help me with my 1v1? You're gonna be looking at this guy like, yo, what are you talking about? Like, that's your job as a centre mid, or in my case as a centre mid, that was my job to check my shoulders, know my surrounding, have spatial awareness. So if you're a centre mid, you can't really rely on your teammates to tell you you got a man on, or you have time to turn. You have to know yourself. So one weakness for me was just checking my shoulders. And what I started doing when I went to training is that every single action, every single time, I literally just start checking my shoulders. Even if I was training by myself and there was no pressure on me, I just had to get used to, you know, just constantly just doing this, just literally just turning my neck, left and right. Even when I was doing like wall passes, literally every single wall pass, I'd literally pass up the wall, check my shoulder there. Left foot pass, check my shoulder that side. Pass, check my shoulder that side. And I'd literally just get used to that notion of just moving, what's it called? Just checking my shoulders every single time until it became natural to me. Now it's sort of natural to me. Now even if the ball's on the other side of the pitch, let's say the ball's not even on my side of the pitch, whether I'm playing at fullback or at centre mid, I'm always constantly just doing this because it's literally become habit to me, and that's what you have to do. That's what I mean by deliberate practice. You understand? Find something that you're bad at, and literally just lock in on that. You don't have to do that every single training session, but let's say you train by yourself, let's say 4 times. You train by yourself 4 times. At least in like three of those sessions, you have to incorporate some drills that will actually help you work on the thing that you're weak at. Now, for me, for example, recently I've been working on my weak foot dribbling because I realized that I can pass with my weak foot. You know, short distances, medium distances, long distances, I can shoot with my weak foot as well. But one thing that I couldn't really do was dribble with my weak foot. And obviously, you can't really call yourself a 2-footed player if you can't do simple functions like dribbling on your weak foot. You know what I'm saying? You think you're a 2-footed player just because you can pass with it, just because you have a good shot with your weak foot. But if you can't dribble with your weak foot, you can't ultimately call yourself a 2-footed player. You understand? That's why guys like the true 2-footed players are guys, you know, guys like Neymar, guys like Santi Cazorla, you know, these guys like Ousmane Dembele, these guys who can dribble with their weak foot, these guys who take corners with their weak foot, they take penalties and free kicks with different feet. Like, that's what you call a true ball-footed player, a true 2-footed player. You can't just you know, say that you're a 2-footed player just because once in a while you can score a great goal with your weak foot. You understand? And I realized that because I can't use my weak foot to dribble, I'm limiting my options. Imagine there's certain scenarios that because I'm only dribbling with my right foot, I can't really protect the ball. You understand? There's certain scenarios on the pitch that if you really play that, you know that you have to what's it called? Because I only dribble with my right foot. Obviously, in certain situations, I'm not able to get my body in between the ball and my opponent. You understand? And that's another reason why that. I feel like a lot of wingers struggle to play both sides. They struggle to play on the left wing and they struggle to play on the right wing because they can only dribble with one foot. So it's not even about just going one way. It's about actually protecting the ball. If you're a right-footed player playing on the right wing, you need to be able to use your left foot because when you're driving inside, you need to be able to drive inside on your left foot, because if you drive inside on your left foot as a right winger, it's much easier because your body's in between the ball and the man. Whereas if you're a right-footed right winger and you decide to drive inside, but you're dribbling with your right foot, your body's not in between the ball and the man. So it's so easy for the fullback to just sort of step in, just sort of get a toe to the ball, and yeah, obviously you get dispossessed, put your team under pressure. That's why, like I said, that's why a lot of players struggle to. That's why a lot of left-footed players struggle to play on the left, and a lot of right-footed players struggle to play on the right, mainly because a lot of wingers these days don't really like to go on the outside. Everyone wants to cut in. So if you're a right-footed player and you try cutting with your right foot, your body's not in between the ball and the man. So like I said, it just makes it so much easier for the fullback to just come in, get a toe to the ball, or come in and just absolutely crunch you, and then you get dispossessed and put your team under pressure, like I said. So literally, if you want to improve as a player, make sure you're doing deliberate practice. Literally, sit down and just analyze the weaknesses in your game. You know what I'm saying? I know as a footballer, you know, we've all got ego, we've all got pride. We don't like to say where we're weak in, but in my opinion, you just sort of have to do it. You understand? Especially with the weak foot dribbling, because I understand why a lot of players don't want to work on their weak foot dribbling, because most of us are not used to dribbling with our weak foot. Once we actually start training our weak foot, the reps that we do are just not quality reps. They're at first, and that's normal though, because even with me, even when I started dribbling with my left foot, dribbling through the cones, the reps were so bad that it doesn't actually feel productive. You understand? It doesn't feel like you're getting good reps in. It doesn't feel like you're having a productive training session. And I get that, but you just sort of just have to push through that first phase. I feel like now I've pushed through that first phase where I can genuinely get decent reps in with dribbling with my left foot, you understand, I can what's it called, I can get decent reps, you know, dribbling with my left foot, dribbling long distances, dribbling short distances, in dribbling what's it called, in and out of the cones. I can get decent reps in. But for those sort of first 2 weeks, first 3 weeks, the reps aren't gonna be that quality. But that's just sort of all you have to do. You just have to get through that first phase, and then eventually, once you actually improve on your left foot, the reps will start coming, you understand. But I do get, especially with weak foot dribbling or anything to do with your weak foot, you feel like it's just you don't want to work on it because it doesn't feel productive. The reps are just bad. What's it called? Let's say you're dribbling, you're constantly hitting over the cones, you're knocking over the cones, you're getting frustrated, you're just thinking, oh, what's the point in doing this? I can just dribble with my strong foot. Like, I get it, but you just sort of have to push through that initial phase and just be like, yo, in the end, it's going to help my game. I need to be able to dribble with both feet. Or even if it's shooting with your weak foot, or whatever weakness you need to do. Maybe you're not really an athletic player and you get exposed for your lack of pace or your lack of athleticism. And you don't really want to, you know, train, you don't want to really do sprint training. You don't feel like, you feel like, oh, I don't really want to do sprint training. I can just rely on my other strengths. But that's the only way to improve as a player. You have to have that sort of initial phase where it feels uncomfortable. Uncomfortable is good. Uncomfortable means that, what's it called? You're doing something new and you're going to improve ultimately. And then as soon as you get comfortable at one aspect of the game, you have to go and find another thing that you're uncomfortable in. If you just stay comfortable, you're never going to improve as a player, you understand? And you always have to be constantly improving, because if you're not improving, there's another guy that's improving. There's another guy that's that's okay with being uncomfortable. There's another guy who's like, yo, I don't really feel comfortable, you know, doing these 100-meter sprints, but because I need to work on my speed and my power, I'm just going to do it. I don't really feel comfortable with, you know, working on my left foot dribbling, but I'm just going to do it. There's always going to be another guy out there who's willing to put in that work that you're not willing to put in. So even if it might feel uncomfortable in the beginning, trust me, once you actually get it down packed and you're comfortable, trust me, the reward will feel so good anyway. You'll feel the improvement, it'll feel so good, and it'll make you feel like it's all worth it in the end. So that's how you never plateau as a player. That's how you constantly improve. You have to have deliberate practice. Literally just keep analyzing each part of your game. What am I weak at? Because like I said, you might start off with just, you know, you might just start off with, you know, simply just going to the AstroTurf, doing a few drills, and obviously, like I said, that will improve your game at the start. But at a certain point, you have to be deliberate. You have to be surgical with it. You have to actually analyze your game and be like, what am I weak at? If you're a fullback and you can't cross, literally just go to the AstroTurf. Literally, what's it called? If you wanna cross with your right foot, cross with your left foot, whatever you wanna do, just go and just whip in crosses. Get a like in my AstroTurf, we've got 7-a-side goals, 9-a-side goals, 11-a-side goals. What I would do is I just get one of the 7-a-side goals, literally put it in the middle of the 18-yard box, act like it's it's a striker. Literally just run down the line and just cross it and just try get the ball. Obviously with some height on it. Try get the ball into the goal, because I know if you get into the goal, and that's a good indicator, because like I said, I'm using the goal pretending that it's a man, you understand? Or even if you have a teammate with you, literally, and you want to work on your crossing, literally just go to the AstroTurf and just run down the line, whip a cross in, or tell your teammate to ping the ball out to you, you take a first touch out your feet, and then you whip it back into the box. You whip it back into the box, so he can finish it, you understand? Whatever you need to work on as a footballer, just be deliberate about it. Don't fall into the trap of, you know, general training, because training generally and just doing, you know, a few passing drills here, shooting drills here, like I said, it works at the start. But once you actually get further and further into your development, you actually have to be surgical with it. You actually have to look at your game, analyze, you know what I'm saying, drop your ego, drop your pride, and just ask yourself, yo, what am I actually lacking? You understand? So that's all I've got to say for this vid. I hope you enjoyed. I'm JT, and I'm out.